Yo, what's good, Laker Nation? Listen, I need every single one of y'all to sit down right now, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, lock the door, tell your girl you'll call her back, because what I'm about to tell you is something I still can't believe happened, and I watched it live. I watched every single second of it, and my hands were literally shaking the entire time. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not doing that YouTuber thing where we hype everything up for no reason. No, this time it's real. This time it's different, because what LeBron James just did on live television, on national TV, in front of millions of people, after that insane Game 3 win in Houston, bro, this might be the most savage, the most disrespectful, the most legendary press conference moment in NBA history. And I've been covering this league for years. I've seen players go off on reporters. I've seen guys get emotional. I've seen guys dodge questions. But I have never, and I mean never, seen a player look directly into the camera, call out one of the biggest names in sports media by his full government name, and absolutely destroy him with facts, with receipts, with that calm, terrifying LeBron voice where you know he's not playing. You know he's been holding this in for weeks, and now the dam just broke. So let me take you through exactly what happened, word by word, because if you missed this, you missed history. So here's the setup. Last night, April 24th, 2026, the Los Angeles Lakers just beat the Houston Rockets 112-108 in overtime at the Toyota Center to take a commanding 3-0 lead in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. Now let me give you the full picture here, because the context matters. This wasn't just any game. This was a game where LeBron James, at 41 years old in his 23rd NBA season, played nearly 40 minutes, dropped 29 points, and then threw an alley-oop to his son, Bronny James, in a playoff game. And the entire internet literally exploded. Every single social media platform was on fire. The clip had like 10 million views in an hour. Fathers and sons were crying, watching it together. It was one of those moments that transcends basketball. But that's not even the story I'm here to tell you. The story is what happened after the game, in the press conference room, when a reporter asked LeBron a very specific question about Stephen A. Smith. Now, for those of you who don't remember, let me rewind a little bit. About 3 weeks ago, before this playoff series even started, Stephen A. Smith went on First Take and absolutely buried the Lakers. He said, and I'm quoting him here, that the Lakers were lucky if they win a single game against Houston. He said LeBron was alone on that roster, that the Lakers had no depth, no secondary scoring, no answer for Houston's athleticism. He specifically pointed to Alperen Sengun and the youth of the Rockets, and said that energy and athleticism would overwhelm a geriatric Lakers squad. His exact prediction: Lakers eliminated in 5 games, with Houston winning the series. He was loud about it too. He was doing that Stephen A thing where he stands up, points at the camera, raises his voice, the whole performance. And look, that's his job, I get it. He gets paid to have hot takes, but this time, he messed with the wrong guy. So the press conference starts, and LeBron walks in, and immediately you could tell something was different. Usually after a win, LeBron is calm, he's smiling, he's diplomatic, he gives those measured answers about team effort and taking it one game at a time, but not tonight. Tonight he walked in with this energy, this look on his face, like he had been waiting for this moment, like he had been replaying something in his head for weeks and finally had the platform to say it. He sat down, took a sip of water, adjusted the microphone, and the first question was pretty standard. Something about the overtime, how the team pulled through, and LeBron gave a normal answer. Talked about the guys stepping up, talked about the defensive adjustments in the fourth quarter, mentioned how Ayton had some big boards down the stretch. Normal stuff. But then, the second question, the second question changed everything. A reporter from ESPN stood up and said, "LeBron, Stephen A. Smith predicted before this series that you guys wouldn't make it past Game 5 and that Houston's athleticism would be too much. With the 3-0 lead now, do you have any response to that?" And I swear to you, the room got quiet. Like quiet. You could hear the cameras clicking, you could hear people shifting in their seats, because everybody in that room knew what was about to happen. LeBron leaned back in his chair, and this little smirk appeared on his face. Not a happy smirk, not a playful smirk, but that dangerous LeBron smirk, the one he gets when he's about to end somebody's whole career with words. And then he leaned into the microphone, and what came out of his mouth for the next several minutes was the most savage, calculated, brilliant takedown I have ever witnessed from a professional athlete. He started slow, real slow, the way he does, and he said, "You know what? I appreciate that question. I really do, because I've been waiting to address this. I've been holding this in since the series started, and tonight feels like the right night to let it out." He paused, looked around the room, and then he said, "Stephen A. Smith told the world that we were lucky if we won one game. One. He said I was alone out here. He said our roster had no depth. He said Houston's youth and athleticism would run us off the court. He guaranteed we'd be going home in 5. Another pause. Well, Stephen A., I got a question for you. Did you book a hotel for Game 5 in LA? Because if you did, you might want to call and cancel that reservation. Actually, you might want to cancel the whole trip because at the rate we're going, there ain't gonna be a Game 5. The room erupted. Reporters were trying not to laugh, cameras were flashing everywhere, and LeBron wasn't done, not even close. He leaned forward and said, "Let me tell you something about people like Stephen A. They don't watch the games, they don't study the film, they don't understand what this team has built. They look at age, they look at names, they make their little predictions based on narratives that sound good on TV, and then when they're wrong, they move on to the next hot take like nothing happened." But I don't forget. I never forget. I heard every word he said. My teammates heard every word he said, and you know what we did? We used it. Every single one of those words became fuel. Then he got personal, and this is where it got really intense. LeBron said Stephen A. said I was alone. Alone? I scored 29 tonight. My guys showed up in overtime when it mattered most. This team, the one that supposedly had no depth, just went into one of the toughest arenas in the West and took a 3-0 lead. Does that sound like a team with no depth to you? Does that sound like a team that's lucky to win one game? He shook his head and said, "The disrespect isn't just toward me. I can handle disrespect. I've been dealing with it for 23 years. The disrespect is toward my teammates, toward the guys who grind every day, who sacrifice their bodies, who do the dirty work that never shows up on highlight reels. When you say I'm alone, you're telling Austin Reeves he doesn't matter. You're telling Rui Hachimura he doesn't matter. You're telling D'Angelo Russell he doesn't matter. And that's not something I'm gonna sit here and let slide." And then he brought up the Bronny moment, and bro, I'm not gonna lie, I got chills. LeBron's voice changed. It got lower, more emotional, and he said, "Tonight I threw an alley-oop to my son in a playoff game." My son. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand how long I've dreamed about that moment? 23 years in this league, 4 championships, all the records, all the accolades, and that moment with Bronny, that's the one I'm going to remember forever. And while it was happening, while I was living the greatest moment of my career, Stephen A. Smith was somewhere on Twitter trying to figure out how to spin his prediction so he doesn't look foolish. That's the difference between us. I'm out here making history. He's out here making excuses. The room was stunned. Nobody moved. And LeBron still wasn't done. He took another sip of water and said, "You want to know what really bothers me? It's not the prediction. Everybody gets predictions wrong. That's part of sports. What bothers me is the certainty. The arrogance." He didn't say the Rockets might win. He didn't say it would be a tough series. He guaranteed we'd lose. He stood up on national television and told millions of people that LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers were done. At 41 years old, after everything I've accomplished, after every time I've proved people wrong, you would think that these analysts would learn, but they never do. They never learn, and honestly, I'm glad they don't. Because it gives me something to play for. Then he dropped what I think is the line of the entire NBA season. He looked directly into the camera, pointed, and said, "Stephen A., I know you're watching. I know you're sitting somewhere right now trying to figure out what to say on Monday. So let me help you out. Here's what you should say. You should say, I was wrong. LeBron James is still the best player on the planet, and I underestimated his team. That's it. That's all you gotta say." But we both know you won't say that because admitting you're wrong doesn't get clicks, it doesn't get views, it doesn't trend on Twitter. So you'll find some other angle, you'll move the goalposts, you'll say, well, if Kevin Durant was healthy, it would have been different. Oh yeah, let me address that too. And this is where it got even crazier because nobody expected him to go there. LeBron said, people want to talk about KD being out with that ankle injury, like that changes everything. Let me be very clear about something. Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players to ever live. When he's healthy, he changes any series. I respect KD immensely, but you don't get to use injuries as an excuse when you picked against us before anyone got hurt. Stephen A made his prediction when Houston was fully healthy. He didn't say, if KD gets hurt. He said the Rockets were better, period. So no, you don't get to retroactively change your argument. Own what you said, stand behind it. Or admit you were wrong, pick one. I literally had to pause my TV at that point because I could not believe what I was watching. LeBron James, in a post-game press conference, was delivering a masterclass in media accountability, and he was doing it with the calm precision of a surgeon. No yelling, no screaming, just facts, receipts, and that terrifying LeBron composure where every word lands like a heavyweight punch. But then, just when I thought it was over, a follow-up question came in. Another reporter asked, LeBron, do you think the criticism from analysts like Stephen A actually motivates you at this point in your career? And LeBron laughed. Not a funny laugh, more like a knowing laugh. And he said, motivates me? Brother, I'm 41 years old. I've been motivated since I was 18 years old walking into that draft. I don't need Stephen A. Smith to motivate me. What I need is for people to stop confusing entertainment with analysis. There's a difference between being an entertainer and being an analyst. An entertainer says outrageous things to get reactions. An analyst actually watches the games, breaks down film, understands matchups, and makes informed predictions. Stephen A is great at what he does, which is entertainment. But don't call it analysis. Don't present it as expert opinion, because when you guarantee a team is going to lose, and then that team goes up 3-0, that's not analysis that missed. That's entertainment that got exposed. The whole room went crazy. Reporters were looking at each other like, are we really witnessing this right now? And LeBron, cool as ever, just sat there letting it sink in. Then he added one more thing, and this was the cherry on top. He said, and by the way, Stephen A, when we close this series out, and we will close this series out, I don't want you to disappear for a week like y'all analysts like to do when your predictions blow up. I want you front and center on First Take. I want you to look into that camera and tell the people what happened. Tell them how a 41-year-old man and his son and a team with no depth swept the 5th seed in the West. Tell them that story, because that's the content your audience deserves. Not the hot takes, not the guarantees, not the clickbait. The truth. Give them the truth for once. Man, I'm sitting here still processing what I just watched. In all my years of following the NBA, covering this league, watching press conferences, I have never seen anything like that. LeBron didn't just respond to Stephen A. Smith, he dismantled him, piece by piece, argument by argument, with surgical precision and zero emotion wasted. And the scariest part? Everything he said was true. Stephen A. did guarantee the Lakers would lose. He did say LeBron was alone. He did predict elimination in 5. And now the Lakers are up 3-0. LeBron just threw an alley-oop to his own son in a playoff game, and Stephen A is sitting somewhere trying to figure out how to save face on Monday morning television. The implications of this are massive, by the way. This isn't just about LeBron versus Stephen A. This is about the relationship between players and media, about accountability in sports journalism, about whether analysts should face consequences for being consistently wrong with their guarantees. LeBron opened a door tonight that I don't think can be closed. Every player who's ever been disrespected by a talking head on TV is watching that clip right now and thinking, finally somebody said it. And the fact that it was LeBron, the king, the most accomplished player in NBA history, that makes it hit even harder. Because if LeBron James, with all his championships and records and billions of dollars, still feels the sting of disrespect from media personalities, imagine how younger players feel when their entire careers get reduced to hot takes and predictions designed for clicks. So what happens next? Well, Game 4 is coming up, and the Lakers have a chance to complete the sweep. And you know LeBron is going to be locked in for that one, because now it's personal, now it's about proving a point, now it's about making Stephen A eat every single word. If the Lakers close it out, this press conference clip is going to live forever. It's going to be in every LeBron documentary, every NBA greatest moments compilation, every media training seminar as an example of how to absolutely obliterate a critic without raising your voice. I cannot wait for Game 4, and I cannot wait to see what Stephen A says on Monday. Now, I want to hear from y'all in the comments. Was LeBron right to call out Stephen A like that? Was it too personal, or did Stephen A deserve every single word? Drop your thoughts below, because this conversation is just getting started. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button and hit that bell, because when Game 4 happens and the Lakers potentially complete this sweep, you know I'm gonna be here breaking it all down for you. This is the content right here. This is why we do this. This is history happening in real time. Laker Nation, we are witnessing greatness. Stay locked in. I'll see you for Game 4. Peace.